he put on a show in the fourth quarter, scored on a 67-yard run, a 70-yard pass on the with 8 seconds left. He broke free on a screen pass, running to the end zone. Looked like game over. They're going to score at the buzzer. And Davion Joyner, that's a name you might know from Fort Dorchester, ran him down, dove, and knocked him down inside the 1-yard line with 6 seconds left. Goose Creek had one play. They ran Simmons off right tackle, and the defense was ready for it. They stuffed him. There's some debate whether or not he got in. I was sitting too far away, and I asked 10 people after the game, and 5 said he did, and 5 said he didn't. So whether or not he got in or not, it was an unbelievable performance. Both quarterbacks, Drew Moore at Goose Creek, junior, and Zoltan Osborne of Fort Dorchester, a junior, both went well over 300 passing yards tonight and just made throw after throw, and people were making catches. And it was an unbelievable game. I will not forget this game for however many years I have, or days or months, or whatever I have on this earth. I don't. I'm telling you, Phil, if you could have sat through that fourth quarter took forever, but it was so dramatic. It was just back and forth. As soon as you thought somebody had the game won, the other team put together. Zoltan Osborne directed a 70-yard drive in under a minute on 5 pass completions to give them the lead. He did that twice in the fourth quarter. 5-yard pass, 5-yard play, 5-play drive. And that kid's got ice water in his veins. I'm telling you, I hear the University of Cincinnati is getting very close to pulling a trigger on him, and he is certainly a guy that can play at that level. And he's got another year, but just ice water in his veins. But both teams left it on the field. Exhaustion. The field was muddy. It was played in a drizzle. It was just typical old school South Carolina football. And for all the knocks that Low Country gets in football, and deservedly so, I'm not defending them, these two teams just put on a show. No doubt about it.
It sounds like it. All right, catch your breath. Hang on. We'll get back to you and get more comments on that game, and might be a good night to call up Coach LaPrade and see how he's feeling.
I don't know if it is or not.
Well, he's happy to get the win.
I talked to him after the game, and he was happy to get the win, but he went through a litany of things that happened bad on his team. He was happy to win, and it's a non-region game, so, the most important games are ahead of him with Somerville and West Ashley. But he was not happy with how Demetri Simmons just took over the fourth quarter.
Yeah. All right, stand by. Let's go to Ian Guerin, who was at that Myrtle Beach-Hartsville game. Lane Harris gave us some of the details from the Myrtle Beach side, and Ian can shed more light on the performance of the Seahawks and how good they looked. Your game was a good one. Doesn't top the one that David had, or maybe even that Dorman Gaffney game.
Well, I don't know. It was a good performance for Myrtle Beach, but it was not necessarily a good game because of how well they played. I think everybody was expecting high scoring from both sides. We've seen what Hartsville's done. They're averaging 38 points a game, but Myrtle Beach just shut them down offensively, defensively, did basically whatever they wanted. Hartsville didn't get that second touchdown until late in the game, and it was already decided. I know that Lane probably gave you a bunch of stats and things like that, but what I wanted to point out was that Myrtle Beach is starting to get really, really comfortable, and that's a bad sign for the rest of 4A Lower State. A good example tonight, we've talked on this show before about that Rhino package that they use, that heavy set jumbo where they have one guy running the ball behind 10 blockers. Tonight they threw a new wrinkle into it where they had Adam Randall running a wildcat with 5 wide receivers out wide. When they're starting to do things like that, when they're starting to throw designed runs to a running back, doing things that we haven't seen in the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season, that's when you know that Mickey Wilson and offensive coordinator Streeter are starting to get really comfortable with who they have available And that's, like I said, that's a scary thought for the rest of Region 6 and the rest of Lower State 4A.
Do you think they're going to fall in love with their running game now, their newly found running game?
Well, I mean, it's a big misnomer. I've written about this several times. Myrtle Beach's best seasons are when they have a strong running game. You know, when they won in 2013, Brandon Sinclair went for 1,800 yards. You don't have a running back go for those kind of totals unless you're really good at it. Their offensive line is coming together very, very nicely. That was something that Mickey Wilson really hoped for in August, that these guys have the type of talent to give them a true balanced offense. I know a lot of coaches don't like that term because you want to be able to do both whenever you need to do one or the other. But Malachi Washington is a sophomore who started getting a lot of touches last year as a freshman. He carried the ball 25 times tonight, ran for 160. He also caught 4 passes for 47. You know, this is something that they always try to do. Just some years they're a little better at it than others. You know, Washington only weighs probably about 145, 150 pounds, you know, soaking wet. But he's low to the ground. He's got really good vision. He hits holes well. You know, you throw that in with everything we already know about Ryan Berger and Adam Randall and even Jake Doty, who caught one hell of a pass tonight for a touchdown. You know, they're putting it all together. They're starting to look like the team that we thought they could be in the preseason.
Hey, we thank you so much, Ian. Great work as always. Always appreciate you being with us. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Have a good night, Corn.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you very much. Ian Guerin from down in Myrtle Beach, and his website, My Horry News, coverage of all the teams, all the games there in Horry County, where Aner beat Georgetown 51-14, as a matter of fact. And Carolina Forest over Conway 27-7. Thursday night, Loris beat Lucy Beckham 35-0, and Greensea Floyd's beat Timmonsville 48-8. All right, a break is coming up, and we'll continue with more of your reports. We've got Chris Deering coming up with a story on Dutch Fork's big win tonight. They continue to roll. They extend that unbeaten streak. I think, hopefully he'll know. I'm sure he does. I'm going to say I think it's at 56. Might be 55. Could be 56. We'll find out from Chris. We'll go back through scores. We'll get David's thoughts on things as well. We're back on the Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal in a moment.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skiza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
Every day, you make choices that protect your family. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we're here to help make some of those choices easier. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent is on hand to provide the reassurance and protection you need. Call today for your free no-obligation review for auto, home, and life insurance that's custom tailored just for you.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
South Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi.
We continue with the high school football scoreboard across the states of South Carolina, the one and only statewide high school football scoreboard show in South Carolina, brought to you by the great folks at Founders Federal Credit Union. As I promised, the story on the Dutch Fork win tonight. They continue to win, and Chris Deering joins us now with the report on another win for the Silver Foxes. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Phil?
You could have hopped on a plane and flown to China by the time we got you on the air.
I've done that. I don't want to do it again. I mean, I trust me.
All right. Well, tell us about the Fork tonight. And they beat a good team in Chapin. They beat them badly, 69-21.
They did. I know. I heard you going to break. This is they've run their unbeaten streak now to 56 games. And I was looking up a stat while I was on hold, so I had time to do this. Dutch Fork has not punted in their last 4 football games.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't believe I've ever seen that on any level. Rec league to middle school to high school to college to pro, I've never seen anything like that. And this team is really good offensively right now. Tonight it was the Jarvis Green and Antonio Williams show, which it's been a lot of the year. Jarvis Green had 5 touchdowns, 4 of them in the first half, 1 on the first series of the second half. That's 9 touchdowns for him in the last 2 weeks. And then Antonio Williams, he ran back punts of 83 and 87 yards for touchdowns tonight. And the big story is he ran the first one back in the first half, and I did not get it on video. So coming out from halftime, I said, "Hey man, I missed your punt return. I need another one." And damn if you didn't go out there and get another one. So pretty good performance by Dutch Fork tonight. You know, I was a little bit disappointed in the defense giving up 21 points, but they played well. You know, Chapin's got some guys on offense that are really good. Jaden Bradford might have had his best game of the season. The highly touted sophomore for them. He threw for a touchdown. He ran for one, and he threw for 230 yards, I think, and ran for 66. But 2 of his guys that are key components in that offense, Xavier Short, the wide receiver that's going to App State, he was injured in the first quarter. He did not return. And then Bennett Galloway, the running back that's going to NC State, he was injured in the third quarter and did not come back. So missing a couple of their key guys, but, you know, the way Dutch Fork's offense was playing, I just don't think it would have made much of a difference.
Who do they have next week?
Dutch Fork next week must have – they put me on the spot.
Sorry.
I don't know the answer to that. Maybe River Bluff. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know
Very
Chapin's
good.
a White Knoll. So,
Chapin's White Knoll?
But
okay.
Yeah, Chapin's got White Knoll. So, you know, Dutch Fork is – they still have River Bluff and Lexington left in the region. So it's one of those 2 teams, I would imagine. So
it is River Bluff, Chris. I just looked it up for you.
Oh, very nice. Well, good guess on my part, I guess. But yeah, so River Bluff is struggling a little bit. They lost to South Aiken last night. So the key now is, when is Dutch Fork going to punt again?
Yes, that's the question. When are they going to punt again? When are they ever going to lose again? Chris, thank you very much, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. All right. How about that? David, 4 games without a punt, 56-game unbeaten streak, looking great towards another state championship. Maybe a Gaffney could be in their way. Maybe a Fort Dorchester I don't know the roll call of potential upset candidates to beat Dutch Fork is very short. That roll call would be very short.
Yeah, and I tell you, after watching Fort Dorchester tonight, they would have to play a lot better to beat Dutch Fork. They're good, and I've been saying all year. This is funny. I've been saying all year down here in the Low Country with Bobby Harton and people I talk to that to beat Fort Dorchester, you got to score 35 points. Tonight, Goose Creek scored 34, and they lost. You got to that's how you got to beat Dutch Fork. With Dutch Fork, you got to score 49 because they're going to score 50 or more.
Yeah.
They're just at another level. Like I said on Sports Talk tonight, I think Coastal could give them a game, but other than that, I don't see anybody in South Carolina giving them a game.
Wait a minute. Not even your beloved Clemson Tigers?
With that offense? Are you kidding me?
Okay.
I don't know. I think Jarvis Green would be the best running back at Clemson, to be honest with you. And he's only a junior.
He's really good. He's really
good.
He
is. He is.
Going up to Virginia Tech for a visit this weekend, I do believe. Let's go to Garrett Mitchell. He was on hand for that Woodruff game tonight. That was a big offensive showcase up there in the upstate. Woodruff and Union County. Old-fashioned high-scoring football between the Wolverines and the Yellow Jackets. Garrett, we love you, man. Don't give us the play-by-play of every score, but just sort of summarize it for us.
No, you're absolutely right, Phil. It would take probably the rest of your show if I went score by score, but it was a crazy ball game. Union County did jump out early, 7-0. Woodruff responded in one play in the first quarter, and the race was on. Woodruff, Union County traded scores for most of the first half. Then the Wolverines pulled ahead, 35-21, with about 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Union County took advantage of a short field, scored, and then forced Woodruff into their only punt of the night with 16 seconds to play in the first half. And Union County's Kevon Hughes returned that 62 yards for a touchdown with 4 seconds on the clock. So it was all knotted 35 apiece at the half. Woodruff took the ball out of halftime, scored in 4 plays. Union County back at you 4 plays of their own. And then after 2 more traded scores, it was 49-all. And the Wolverines scored right before the third quarter horn on the last play of the period, took a 7-point lead into the fourth. And then they forced Union County or got to stop on 2 consecutive Yellow Jacket possessions held on 4th down. And then Woodruff punched in 1 final score and took the win 63-49. And 2 of the standout performers I will give a shout out to. Woodruff senior running back Demarion Elmore, 31 carries for 215 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then fellow senior running back Jalen Tribble, some of those across the state might remember Shun Tribble from the great Woodruff teams under Brian Lane. Well, Jalen is Shun's little brother. He had 21 carries tonight, 146 and 2 touchdowns, 573 yards of offense, and 30 first downs for the Wolverines.
Wow. What a game. What a game. What does this do for Woodruff now in the region?
It evens Woodruff's record at 1-1. And, of course, last week was a tough loss to Chapman, really a game effort by Woodruff against Chapman. Carson Tucker, star junior quarterback, returned after a month off due to injury. And the offense began to click last week, and then it just really ramped up to another level tonight. So that evens the region record at 1-1. I believe Chapman and Clinton both 2-0. But Woodruff still has a game coming in 3 weeks, and that's coming at home against Clinton, who's playing really good ball right now. So we'll see how that goes. But Woodruff is on the road next week against the Emerald Vikings, and I think they have to feel pretty good. Woodruff finally has gotten healthy, and Emerald, of course, has struggled again a bit this year. So I think Woodruff feels pretty good that they can go on the road next week, pick up another win, and run their record up to 2-1 in region play. Be set up pretty good to claim either the second or third spot in Region 3 for you.
Hey, Garrett, thank you so much, man. Great job. Appreciate it. Excellent ball game. Great call for you and great information for us. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Phil, David, you take care.
Thank you very much. David, got we don't have much time. We'll get back to you on that Woodruff game in a moment. 63-49. What a ball game. 35 all at the half. Then it was 49-49. Then Woodruff scored the end of the third to go up 7. Tacked on another score in the fourth quarter to win it by 14. That's a big win there for Woodruff. Abbeville, by the way, if you're wondering about the Panthers, no trouble tonight with Liberty. They win it big, 48-0. When we come back, we'll see if we can get a couple of coaches on with us. Want to maybe reach out to Dan Jones at Gaffney, see if we can get the coach on, and maybe Steve LaPrade down there at Fort Dorchester to see if his blood pressure has come down. Be a couple of interesting folks to talk to. So we got that and a whole bunch more coming up here on the high school football.
I was in the
Scoreboard.
middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A federal appeals court has reinstated the nation's strongest pro-life law less than a day after a federal judge declared the law unconstitutional. The law bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat can be detected, which is normally around 6 weeks. Texas officials had sought to quash the judge's decision, and the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals granted Texas's request to set aside Judge Robert Pittman's order for now while the case is reviewed. Pittman was an appointee of President Barack Obama. The new law threatens Texas abortion providers with lawsuits from private citizens who are entitled to collect at least $10,000 in damages if successful. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 8 points. The Nasdaq dropped 74. The S&P 500 lower by 8. Oil up to $79.48 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
For many years, I've bragged about the great work Stone Interiors does in the home. And brag's the right word, because before I endorsed Stone Interiors, I was a customer first. That means I've been through the same process you can go through. Lainey and I visited the showroom. We were in awe of the selection as we wanted a unique granite look for our kitchen. We got that for our countertops. We found something special. The team at Stone Interiors put the plan in motion. They came out, they installed the granite that we've been loving and beaming about ever since. When folks visit our home, inevitably, we end up in the kitchen talking and someone comments about the granite, from its look to its texture. So is it time to enjoy some new granite, marble, or quartz? Do you need a beautiful new backsplash in the kitchen? What about a new fireplace or an outdoor kitchen? Stone Interiors has taken great care of folks in the Midlands for 20 years. They're locally owned and operated, and that's essential. You can visit the showroom, do a virtual appointment if you want, whatever you're comfy with. Visit StoneInteriors.com or give them a call, 461-8950. And, of course, tell them you heard about it from The Point.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Oil drilling investments involve a high degree of risk and are only suitable for SEC-accredited investors. Attention high net worth investors. Oil and gas investments have always been an ideal tax advantage. and have been a way to invest and take a 100% write-off. The new administration is threatening to take this away. Take advantage now before it's too late. Invest in domestic oil drilling for a full tax credit this year. When you invest in oil, you get a 100% tax write-off. The pent-up demand from the pandemic has created the perfect storm for oil prices to soar. Support domestic U.S. oil and natural gas drilling and make your patriotic investment to get a complete 100% tax deduction write-off. If you are liquid for a $100,000 investment, call Encore Energy at 800-287-6691. That's 800-287-6691. 800-287-6691. That's 800-287-6691.
Everybody, high school football scoreboard brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. We roll into our final half hour. Fastest 2 hours in all of sports radio, the high school football scoreboard. We have so much going on. A few more scores to pass along. I don't think we've mentioned. It was Lower Richland 35, Mid Carolina nothing. Christchurch 53, West Oak nothing. South Florence 38, Wilson 7. And let's see if we have anything else new that has come in here. Chesterfield 83, David. Chesterfield 83, Buford 70. I think Chesterfield hired the defensive coordinator from Arkansas State, and Buford hired the coordinator from Missouri for this game. Wow.
That's incredible.
83. That's not 8-man. That's regular football. 83-70. McBee 42, Great Falls 38. W.W. King 28, Palmetto Christian 22, North Augusta 50, Airport 10. We told you Hannah 43, Malden 22. I think we're up to date, so let's go back to the phones. Love to get with happy coaches. Of course, winning makes you happy, and maybe, sometimes how you win, you're happy to win, but maybe you're concerned about things. I don't know, with some of these tight games. Let's go to Dan Jones. Welcome him into the high school scoreboard, head coach at Gaffney. Now, anytime you beat Dorman, that's reason to be happy, and you held on there at the very end, Coach. What a ball game you guys had tonight with the Cavaliers. Is Coach with us? Coach Dan Jones. Smitty, did we lose Coach?
We may have lost Coach. I'm going to try to catch him. I'm going to try to get him back. I've been to Gaffney around midnight. Sometimes the cell signals can get a little sketchy. I'll catch back up with it.
They roll up the sidewalks and the cell signals. I get it. Okay. Let me know when you have Coach back with us there. So, David, let me go over some other scores here. I caught us up there on a few, but that's some score there. 83 to 150. 153 points there. That's got to be perhaps maybe an all-time high. I'm not sure, but it's got to be close.
That's crazy. I mean, that is nuts.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the right score.
Well, I'm using SC Sports Source, and they double-checked it. They got somebody called it in for them. Excuse me.
Okay.
They said, yes, this is the correct score. This score is correct. Chesterfield 83, Buford 70. Somewhere Steve Tannehill would be smiling.
Yeah, well, a lot of people would be smiling.
I mean, they probably threw, like 10 or 11 touchdown passes in that game if they, run the same offense that he ran when he was there. So quite a score there, quite a score. Big win for Chesterfield. Let's see. Let's start to go through scores that we have.
We do have Coach back with us.
We got Coach with us? Okay, let's go to Coach Dan Jones from Gaffney as he joins us. Coach, good evening. Congratulations. What a win and what a game you had with Dorman tonight. Okay, Smitty? I don't hear Coach. Do we have Coach? Coach Jones.
Yeah. I just spoke with Coach Jones. Maybe he's got a bout of stage fright. Hang on.
Not Dan. Not
you
that we
wouldn't
know
think
of.
so.
Let me know when you have him. In the meantime, go over some scores. South Point 51, Lancaster 13, Landrum 37, Blacksburg 7, St. Joseph's 14, Chesney 7. Just break in, Smitty, when you have him. Daniel 56, Pendleton nothing. T.L. Hanna 43, Malden 22, Clinton 47, Broome 14, Greer 24, Belton Honeypath 14, Gaffney beat Dorman 42-35, Clover 44, Fort Mill 7, York 19, Catawba Ridge 13, Wren 34, Seneca 21, Abbeville 48, Liberty nothing, Chapman 52, Emerald 3, Nation Ford 56, Boiling Springs 27, Woodruff 63, Union County 49, Christchurch over West Oak 53-0. Some of the scores from the upstate tonight. David, what do you think of some of those? I guess you want to talk a little bit more about that Gaffney-Dorman game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting Coach Jones on the air. But yeah, definitely. I think that Dorman-Gaffney game was the highlighted game of the upstate. A lot of people paying attention to that, and certainly it lived up to the billing. A lot of times these big games don't, but tonight this one did.
Yeah.
We should have Coach with us. Coach Jones is on the line.
Well, we got Coach.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can.
There you go. Hey, thank you for joining us. Congratulations. Heck of a win. Heck of a ball game. You held on there like right at the 2 or 3 yard line. No, about the 9 yard line, I think it was at the very end. So I guess you were, biting those fingernails and holding on for dear life.
Tooth and nail.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Last play of the game, and they were on about the 9 yard line and threw a pass, and we good pass, and we tipped it and knocked it out of there. And luckily, we were able to get out of there with the victory. Of course, now that was going to tie it up, or they went for 2 and tried to win it. But we were fortunate to get us a victory on the road at Dorman, and now we got to get ready for region play next week.
Yeah. What about obviously both offenses had great nights. Were the offenses just in gear and kind of overpowering the respective defenses?
Well, we got down 14-0, and they had a first drive and got 7 points, and then we threw a pick 6 for 7, so we're down 14-0 in the first quarter. And right before the first quarter ended, they're on about the 6 or 7 yard line and go for it on 4th and 1, and our defense stops them, and that was big. That motivated our offense, and we came back out, and about 2 plays later, we got it to 7 points. So it went to almost 21 down to 14-7. So.
Wow.
And it was kind of like that all night. I think we got down by 14 again one time in the second half and fought back. Our kids just never quit, and they made some plays, and we made some plays, and we just made one more at the end.
You guys did not lead until Tyler Smith had that 59-yard touchdown run with 6:21 left. So I know that that uplifted you. But then they come down the field, and what are you thinking there in the final seconds as they reach, what was it, about the 12-yard line maybe, and had a couple of shots into the end zone?
No doubt. And, they had a shot from the 9 yard line and had number 7. He's a great football player, former receiver, and kind of had him double covered, and he slipped one of them, and the other one got a hand on the ball. Kept him out of the end zone.
David, you have a question for the coach?
If you paid your $6 there, you got your money's worth. That's for sure.
David, you have
Coach,
a question for Coach?
Coach Jones, I witnessed a game very similar tonight between Fort Dorchester and Goose Creek, and both coaches made the comment after the game that the ones that win are happy, the ones that lose are not. But in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, when you start looking at playoff atmospheres, the adversity that you go through in a game like this has got to help you, win or lose.
Well, that's what I told them when they were 14 down. I said, hey, you got an option here. You can either quit and you get embarrassed, or you can fight your tail back and compete. And they decided to compete, and I'm certainly glad they did.
Let me ask one more question, Coach. Do you guys, being who you are and looking at the big picture down the road, do you all keep up with what Dutch Fork is doing? If you haven't, I'll tell you, they won tonight, 56 in a row, unbeaten. And according to our reporter, they haven't punted. They haven't punted in 4 games. Do you guys, maybe keep one eye on what those guys are doing?
No, we got enough going on in our region and with the people we play, and if we match up with them, certainly we'll get all eyes on them when it comes that time. But you don't never know when that's going to be, and if it is, certainly we will put all the attention on them. But that's a great football team. There ain't no doubt about that, and they do a great job week in, week out, and we just try to compete against guys we got to compete against, and you never know at the end.
Yeah. Who you got next week?
We got Nation Ford for homecoming.
Very good. At the new reservation. Well, thank you so much for joining us here late on this Friday night. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you. All right, Dan Jones. Third time the charm there, guys. And good to get him on with us, David.
Now, I'm like you guys, but I don't think they call it the new reservation anymore. I just think it's
just the reservation.
Yeah, the kids playing there weren't alive when they built it. So
yeah. You mean how old is their newest station? Their newest stadium? I thought it was only like 5 or 6 years old.
Is it that? I thought it was older than that. I thought it was more than a decade now. But is
David
this the new reservation? David, how many reservations have we had?
I think this is the second.
Well, this is a relatively new one. This is this. I want to say it's less than 10 years old.
Yeah. I rode by the original reservation when I went to Limestone back in August, and that is still a cool-looking place. If I'm not mistaken, David, aren't the stands kind of built into a hill or something there at the original reservation?
Yeah.